being on a show like the Midnight Special uh, was was the end thing to do because of the fact that you it was such a diverse, entertainers. You had rock, you had comics, you had R&B, you had country, you had blues. You had all of this in one package on one show, and then you had all of those people that were in that type of music. They were watching this show, so you had all of these millions of people that you got a chance to perform and do your thing in front of that you would not ordinarily get a chance to do.
I think the Midnight Special was a really, really special show because um, being a black act that would not have gotten the chance to perform on TV in front of, as Eddie mentioned, such a diverse audience, these people probably would never have had a chance to see us perform or get a chance to like us. And it gave us that opportunity to perform in front of millions. It was a huge show, and so many different acts were on that show at the same time. And I think that's why it was called the Midnight Special, because it gave you so many different forms of entertainment. Did the performance give us a chance to exploit new material? It most certainly did, and that was one of the great things about it. After a new album is released, of course, there's the single, but obviously there are some other materials on the album that our choreographer would pick, and we would sometimes like it and sometimes we wouldn't, but it seems like he had a in clue of what people would like and what would perform well. So in doing the Midnight Special, we would get a chance to do some of that new material and see how people would respond to it, and it would give it a national shot because the Midnight Special was a national uh, program. It was seen by millions in one showing, one viewing of it. So it was excellent for new material.
One of my favorite songs has always been The Backstabbers, and I've always enjoyed singing that song, and I've always enjoyed it. When we do it live, and when we did it on the Midnight Special, it was it had already it had already been a hit. You know what I'm saying? But just to be able to do it in front of that audience was a great thing, and and they always gave us the opportunity to try new things, to try new material, to try. We even practically did one of our whole shows on there when with our band. We got a chance to do a lot of live stuff on that show, not only just recording. So we got a chance to exploit our live performance, and Backstabbers happened to be one of my special songs.
My favorite song has always been Love Train. I think it was a big, fat message that everyone could relate to. It was very danceable. Uh, Lyric were very simple, not complicated. It sang about love. The Bible speaks of love in basically every aspect. So it was right on time. And boy, did the world need it. It still does. It was a fresh sound. It was, in my opinion, the orchestra made the difference. The arrangements of horns and the strings added class to the R&B, the actual rhythms that we sang. Um, the songs, they all felt like rhythm and blues kinds of songs, but once the horns and strings and the arrangement were put on these songs in the studio, it gave them a a classier feel, a classier sound that just made them incredible and enhanced what we were doing and what we were trying to be about. I think it uh, put us in a different uh, genre than just the regular, R&B and the regular kind of rhythm and blues. It made us dress differently because it gave us such a classy sound. And that to me was the Philly sound, the orchestration that was added to the R&B.
The reason why I think the Midnight Special was so special, it came on at midnight, and everybody wanted to have a reason to stay up that late at night, and and then you got a chance to see people you wouldn't ordinarily see by just staying up and watching that show. Um, Wolfman Jack was a treat within itself to be able to watch him, and then so many people mimicking him or act with that crazy voice and all of that you wonder how he could even get words out the way he talked. But being that within itself, and the music, and there was no telling, you'd see David Bowie with the OJs and Gladys Knight, all of that, and that you didn't see on regular TV, like the shows that came after him, after Midnight Special was, just copies, and they just went to doing live performances. The other shows, I felt like the Midnight Special was all part of the school. This is a school that you get a chance to go and be in front of millions of people, and you get a chance to try your craft, and you get a chance to see what they think of you in the weeks that comes after that, whether you and then I think we done well because Wolfman Jack, they had us on a lot of times. We were on there, we became regulars on there. Where today they don't have those type of shows. The only shows that they have now are like the American Idols, the Voice, the X Factor. Do you want to be America's Got Talent or something? Those kind of shows, the Midnight Special, and what it did for talent was that you had a chance to try your talent in front of millions of people and to see if they respond to you. These kids nowadays, they get one shot, and if they don't make the tryouts, you'll never see them again. Now there's an avenue, there was an avenue that was almost like school. We can train. We now know what camera to look at when we're performing. We know what a spot is. We know that now we don't have all the room that we need on stage, so now we have to minimize our choreography to suit the camera. It was an education. That's what made those places, that made it iconic.
Either your schedule or who you hung out with or where you hung out would not have permitted you to see those other acts if you did not see them on the Midnight Special. Of course, you heard about them. If you listened to any pop radio, you heard the big songs, you heard about the big concerts that were happening, and because your schedule didn't allow you to go see them live, you did get a chance to view them on the Midnight Special and give you an opportunity to say yay or nay, and most of the time it was absolutely a yay because these people were very, very talented people, and the Midnight Special had the scouts to find these people and bring them and have them perform for you, and gave you that variety of talent that you would not have done on your own. You got a chance to see it, so it was a gift. Looking back at those shows, I am absolutely proud of them. The exposure, you couldn't pay for that kind of exposure. Um, Friends see you, they comment, they let you know whether or not you nailed it or not. Especially the critical ones that are your good buddies, they tell you the truth. And that's what you want to hear. But just having the opportunity to do the show and get that kind of exposure and do well, and in doing well, then you've set yourself out there for the buyers to come in and offer other things because of the midnight special, because of all of that exposure. And you're offered a lot of tours, a lot of overseas tours, a lot of other TV shows. So it works for you. It worked very well for all of the acts that got a chance to get that opportunity to go on a well-viewed show like the Midnight Special.
When he came to the show and he had his sweater tied around his neck and his loafers on and no socks, you knew he was the man. You knew, that's the man.
He clearly knew what he was doing because it worked, and it worked for everybody. And a lot of shows came behind it trying to use that same format, and did. And but he was the pace setter. He was the guy. We would have a rehearsal. We would have a walk-through, a run-through, a sound check to make sure everything that you were doing would be as best you could do it when it came time to perform it live. Our choreographer was there. He was special with lighting and what lights to use, and it was a learning experience as well. And when it came time to do it, we had already rehearsed these things. If you didn't know your lyric, there were teleprompters there to show you if you forgot something. We rehearsed so much, we knew the lyric. We knew the moves that were associated with the lyric. We knew the rhythms that we were expected to do that were contrary to the beat that was going down. So
You'd have so much time to do. And if you couldn't get it, if your song was longer than that
I
time,
forgot that.
they chopped the song up. Now you have to now be quick enough to change the choreography and your direction and what you're doing, adjust it as they take the bars out. They might have took 16 bars out. So now you've got to change what you've done right on the spot to make it work for the show.
And you would hear them call it out. You would say, okay, we're going from letter A to the coda. Now, unless you know music, you don't know what that means. But they would explain it. And then you knew lyrically where you were as far as your choreography, what went with that lyric. So it would give you a clue as to where to change it and how many bars to do it. And that would be the confusing thing sometimes, of how many bars, where it may have been 16 or 32 bars. If they took it from letter B to the coda, then it might get changed to 8 bars or 16 bars. And that's what you had to know, and you had to make it up right there on the set.
Man, that was when it wasn't against the rules to have fur shoes, fur hat, fur shirt, fur pants, leather bell bottoms. You know what I'm saying? The bandana. I mean, man, it was off the hook. The way they dressed in, it was. You could see chartreuse at any point.
Whatever color that is. But I think we were finding ourselves back then in the 70s and 80s, I think we were trying new things to see what would shock an audience. And